My God, is everything so weird and surreal these days? It's like, it is. It's straight up like dada. I got to remember my first dream in like, I can't even remember the last time I actually remembered a full dream. I'm starting to remember my dreams again. Am I being released from like the prisonous chains that I've been held into by some beast? I guess so. Sorry. That was bugging me. When you sleep in a sweatshirt. So anyways, I have to just document the stream. I may post it just because it might have some like, I don't know, evidence or something. So I think at the beginning of the dream, I was going downstairs. Well, it's like, so the church was like, before our church moved and things changed with it, it was down below our house, down in the yard, which is it's now like a part of the daycare center that I started, and it's the in particular the after school. The preschool, and then the after school part of the building. Whereas, there's infant, waddler, toddler, and 2 and 3 year olds downstairs in the basement, which, by the way, is there because of this girl and the grant she wrote, which was the top grant that they read that year out of hundreds of grant applications. You're welcome very much. And by the way, I never would have been able to write that grant, submit it, and get it had I not had cannabis. you know, help me keep on working on it, even through the night. That was one of my all-nighters I pulled, was to write a grant to get the second yard in the basement fixed up at King's Kids. Anyways, back to the dream. So it's like I'm going, but it was like our house is like below the church in this case. So I go down to the church and it's like full of people, and it's all like sparkly and glamorous, and they're like well-to-do people from all around, but they're not like our normal church people. And it's like I went down there to grab my guitar, and it was like my actual guitar that I have. It was in this dream, and there was like food, champagne, and stuff, and so I go to grab the guitar. And they're like, is that our guitar? I'm like, no. And I'm Pastor Mark's daughter. And my dog Ivan was in the dream. I don't think he was in the church initially when I went to grab the guitar. Oh, no, he wasn't. So I grab my guitar and we go up like in the hills, and he takes like the biggest pee ever. Like he'd been holding in for 3 days. And he pees on a generator, but it's almost like he's human because he realizes what he'd done, that he peed on the janitor. Janitor. What is that? A mix of what words? On the generator. And so like the whole service got shut down. And but then like the lights went on right away, and then somehow back up before that. Okay, before I go to the church and go down to get the guitar, I'm like in the upstairs of my parents' house, although it looks really different. And it's like my snotty sisters come in and they're like giving me dirty looks. And I'm talking about, how we could feed the hungry and cure disease. But that would be a huge waste of time or whatever. And that, family isn't family that doesn't like, whatever, save other people's lives. And then it's so weird because my cousin from Colstrip, who I used to be pretty close with, and she bought me a pair of earrings that were kind of cool, but I don't know. I think I remember making an offish comment like that I didn't love them. And just because like the dude, it was like this old like rugby player. It was like some of the first like antique photo epoxy stuff, but they sort of look like Parisienne brand jewelry. But so it was like this like a little square. It was like a little rugby player with like bronze like gem, like rhinestones around the top, and they were like little. And then I had a friend that actually, had children with somebody that looked like that rugby player. And so I think that was the comment I made. But like, she stopped buying me Christmas gifts after that. I don't blame her. But it was weird. So it was like I was in their club and she like liked me then. Well, her and then this other girl, I'm just gonna call her initial S, but she's also got a Mick name. Now I'm finding it's kind of odd with these Mick fuckers. It's like these Irish people with the Mick fucking name, like they're not right or something. I don't know if they hated the Flynns. I miss like Charlie. This is in the dream, but I miss Charlie at Three Forks, this bartender at Three Forks. He was way cool because he had a Clash tattoo. And like one of these times I busted out, like when he was serving a drink and we were talking politics. And it's a cool place. But anyways, that bar is got a Trump flag up on the ceiling. But anyways, I sing, "It ain't Coca-Cola, it's rice," and he's like, "That's right." So anyways, but then he's the one that said, when I described what my grandma looked like, that was Irish. He's like, maybe Black Irish. No, she's Egyptian though. Really, is what the deal is. Sephardic Jew, whatever. Sephardic Jew race, not religion. Jew, I guess is how you say it these days, right? They're the very musical ones too. And then on the other side, I've got Martin in my family line. So, and then my grandpa also, like, he was one that had all the dulcimers and auto tuners and played the harmonica. And so no, I think that I must have well, and then my grandpa was Thalen Bell. He also was like into really cool music, and I know he had black in him too, black Italian in him. Anyway, so I think I've got music in all four lines of mine. I guess that makes sense as to why I got shipped to the Center of Genetic Studies in South Salt Lake. Anyways, back to the dream. In 1976, and when some of these albums from 1976 came up, they were very politically based. So yeah, trying to put it all together, it's pretty crazy. So back to the dream, like before I went and got my guitar at the church. So then like that cousin from Colstrip shows up. And what's weird is she's connected with the friends here that are hanging out with my sisters as my sisters get a little more like out there. One of them we know is just turned very weird and very offish, and somehow that even though they bought, and her husband's in real estate, and somehow even though they bought an old antique store here, they claim that they found a suitcase full of gold in it, and then they split it with their friends, who's friends with this cousin. I'll just give her the initial L. But it's interesting, like, because her name, which is kind of sort of close to Eliza, but not, but starts with an L, it's one that like would show up with fake reservations when I worked at Lolo, and that they would never show up. And it was through booking.com. It's like so much fraudulent stuff can be done through booking.com. Not only that, but like if somebody won like one sporting event in their life, they're so famous that they can use an alias name and whatever, commit whatever crimes, right? Stupid. Oh man, I gotta get out of this town. I get nothing but sick in this town. Sick in a way I haven't been since the last time I was in this town. Could be the toxins. Could be the nefarious people / beings. Anyways, so my cousin and the Mick girl, the S Mick girl, they walk in with these like two little kids that aren't even attractive. They're all totally throwing me the evil eye at me, mugging me. And I try to like ask them their names, and it's like I feel like they're throwing me shade because they're just like coming up with these like fake names that like I don't know that they made up. He did watch started to watch Key and Peele's like football introductions. It was like that. Or were they German names? You know what I mean? But it's like they were giving me their name like that's like as if they were mocking me so that I wouldn't be able to remember them. And like I'm like, whatever, I'm getting away from you. You guys are all assholes and you all don't care about my life and whatever, want me dead, whatever. And so but when I'm leaving, it's like the S. Mick person has like one boy on each hand. So even though like they were each supposed to be with one boy, she was like with two boys, and I don't know. So anyways, yeah, I go down and get the guitar, and then Ivan like fries the generator. But then somehow, like, so I go back and hit up all their food. It's like some cheese. I go to get like cheesecake to go, but but like all the plates had been gone, even though there's still some food there. And the cheesecake, the to-go container's full of crystals, and I can't even put any cheesecake in there. And then I end up on their bus, like one of their buses, and it's weird because like I kept trying to like I wanted to like be part of their club and go to one of these services again because these people were like from all over, like different countries and stuff. And I thought they were like from Missoula originally, but only a few of them were like they were like international, some international like service that my dad had rented his church out for. And I was like, "Are you guys coming back?" And they kind of seemed like weren't going to. But somehow I ended up on the bus, and as they're like leaving, I'm like, "Wait a minute, you're going the wrong way. I'm on this bus by accident. I'm not supposed to be on this bus." And well, come to find out, they're all acting a little strange towards me because apparently, like when I like ditched the mean mugger, evil eye, jealous people upstairs, that family not families members, I like went downstairs and partied with this church crowd, international church crowd or something, and then I'm like wondering why they're kind of like acting like they know me because I'm bringing up stuff and they're like, yeah, we know. And I'm like, huh? And they're like, and then they proceed to tell me that I got severely wasted with them. And I'd like blacked the whole thing out apparently. And I don't know if it involves some sort of nudity because somehow in the bus the shower went on and I have a towel around me, but like my boob was hanging out. So there's like one girl who seemed to be friendly, like that I was hanging out with, and I don't know, I think she was from Missoula, and I mentioned I worked at Lolo, and like she like helped me put my towel up over my hanging out boob. But I was like, what in the heck was I drinking? And they were like, wild turkey, but like TT, but it was like, I don't know, maybe that's generic wild turkey, I don't know. But hard liquor, which is like church thing. And then we get turned around and we ended up like, the driver was awesome who pushed through this fence. And then somehow I end up back in Uptown Butte on like Park Street. And like, I'm not like the only one left in this like bus or trailer, but it's like raising up. Like it's going to put me in like a warehouse room. And they're like, no, you need to go. Oh, and then right before that, Ivan's looking at me like he's almost done, like he's really almost done, and going bye-bye, finally going to heaven. My Charlie going to heaven. So then I remember I jumped out of that trailer that was being raised up and elevated to go into some warehouse window. And I jumped out of it. And then the dream was over and I just woke up. But like, seriously, that is more plot that I have remembered in a dream suddenly tonight for I don't know how long. And then my phone was put on security lock all night long. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but it's craziness. Yeah, weird times we're living in. It's also surreal. You can't even believe like this actual like life. It all changed so drastically, and so many people like aren't there in their minds anymore. But no, back to no, this really happened though. This for real really happened where, like supposedly, so like the family was all, or the rest of the family without me was all gonna buy land together. They've had me ousted, and I haven't been part of their family for like however long. I have one sister that's selling my jewelry at her store because she bought a bunch of it and it sells really fucking well. It's the best selling line there. And you know, even though she's nice, I think she wants to be, it's like she's like in the middle. And now this other friend of that particular cousin that showed up in my dream, her initials A, I wish I could say her name, like, and she comes from like parents that were the only ones that were willing to donate towards my cause when I came out with this disease of trying to have my life saved and getting medical treatment. Well, I barely got my life saved. Like, nobody hardly at all contributed. And that's when I started to feel like alone in the world. But like, nobody hardly contributed, but her parents did. And like, they are the only ones out of the family that I feel like I would actually go pay a visit to and hang out with, because I feel like they actually are the only ones that care about my life. But it's like their daughter, and she's been best friends with my younger sibling. And it was weird though, because they all like work on my daughter. And this other friend of initial A cousin, that's got the, the friend that has a name close to Eliza, but not Eliza. And she is now working on that other sister that has my stuff in her store. And then that sister that has my stuff in her store is like working on my daughter. Yeah. And then they erased me off the internet. So it's like they're trying to get rid of me completely early or something. Like, wipe me away. Like, they did celebrate my death early. And then they failed once again to take Sally out. Always happens. So, yeah, I think that's it for this. May actually pull some cards today since I got him back and they still have the energy of that last place. Maybe the spirit of Willow Creek jumped in my cards. But we'll see what comes out. And then I'm going to cleanse them, but I want to do a few pulls before with that energy still on those cards. So, anyways, maybe I'll relate the dream. I don't know if I have any, like, I've got a few followers, but I don't know. Maybe this dream will relate to something to you. I don't know what's going on. I'm only getting my dreams back finally, after them being completely wiped away from me for so many years. I had prophetic dreams when I was a kid, and I used to see angels. I once saw like angels and Daniel with lions on top of my elementary school, and I mentioned it, and that was like when I was in kindergarten or first grade, and I feel like that was when they started to try to take away my gifting and everything, my giftings. But oh no, for real though, like this gold that they found, this is a real thing that actually happened in real life. Instead of the rest of the family that was going to be a family and build together and have businesses together, this particular couple that has the real estate husband, she she was catching on to stuff, and I was actually filling her in, but they've been particularly gotten weird. I'm just going to call it that. They've gotten particularly weird lately as well. My parents are staying there now too. But as Hollywood rents my childhood home, Airbnb/Airbnb. But no, they really did. They claim that they found the gold up in that antique store, which would be a convenient cover up. But the thing is like the real estate agent, my brother-in-law, he has a sister that sells insurance in London. Very like, it's a specialist. She makes like a shit ton of money doing this. And when I was on Venmo before I left last year and I was doing farmers market, Venmo makes me sick how like people like have it set to public and it's like social media financial junk, and like they brag. And so even though that sister refused to even put $20 towards or share my like online fundraiser to save my life and get medical treatment when I was asked on Facebook, and I shut that down. Probably another reason my face doesn't come up online, but I think it's more than that, because I did have pictures of me coming up online, a few of them still at least, and now like none of my pictures come up when you put my name in. But I'm talking in circles in a big way. Oh, so on Venmo, I see my sister put a little like thing out to, let's initial Y, my brother-in-law's sister, and a payment, and talking about a boat ride, winky winky winky, and then all of a sudden there's this gold that pops up, and they give it to the friends of cousin initial A and her friend here now, which have become their besties and replaced the family. I find this is what happens. This is what's happened with the associate pastors, who, by the way, that associate pastor's wife does do housekeeping for our Airbnbs. Last time I saw her, she hid from me. And she also like went through all of like the closets, and I needed like my educational statements, just to basically prove, that I was in 99 percentile and had like cognitive decline sense with the neuropsychs. Didn't get those. I'd also wanted my grandpa's statement that he made in his like life statement little booklet with like all the pictures of our ancestors and history, and he had broken down by year how much he won and lost in the stock market, and like one of the companies indeed was like a company, and I don't remember what they call it, like a fluke or a hoax, but like where they just basically took my grandpa's money, never started a business, and used it for personal use. So I don't know if you know the term to that, but I never got those important documents. And there probably was other documentation and, important stuff. It's like I got one box of random stuff, but like the important stuff that I had stashed away in one of those big closets. And I mean, this is a fancy house that I grew up in, because a lot of these houses in Uptown Butte, even the nice ones, will only have a super tiny closet. This one, on the other hand, had walk-in closets that you could quite literally turn into a bathroom. And if I would have got the place to turn it into the restaurant slash bed and breakfast, which was my original plan, and what I should be doing now, and had I not gotten sick and lost my businesses and lost everything, I would have that property now, because it was on the market, and I would have been able to buy it had, I not been made sick, really, really bad, particularly in 2011, when I lost my Etsy business and my designs were sold off. But like, anyways, so I had like this very large walk-in closet. I mean, you could literally put a bed in it. It's so huge, with like ginormous shelves, like full of stuff. Yeah, I only end up with one shoebox of stuff from that. And it's the associate pastor who's weird and like a robot, and works at the hospital. Oh, I gotta get this card. I gotta show you this. I'm gonna do this later. But it's like she's a housekeeper, and she's got initial T to start her name out. And my parents haven't been the same since. And it's weird because, like, at first when I was there, it was like, oh yeah, Sally gets whatever she wants concerning like praise and worship, and then all of a sudden I was out. But they said to me one time, we've really been looking for somebody like your parents, like in those terms. You know what I mean? It's so weird. And they came from Colorado. But also, yeah, so instead of our family, besides me, the rest of the family buying, a piece of land together to build on, now that realtor and his wife and the initial L, friends with my cousin, initial A, they got half of the gold, $7,000 worth of gold, to put a down payment on this land. And that doesn't involve family at all. It's very weird stuff what's happening. But anyways, I want to do a read with this Everybody Knows cards. But this was the very first card I saw out of it when I unwrapped them. This was one that barely survived. But it says number 2, the job title of a religious advisor in the military or hospital, a chaplain. So my parents' associate pastor actually does maintenance and housekeeping for our hospital. The person that ousted me from the church last time was part of that. And boy, the replacements, oh boy, not anything close to what was going on, what we were building before that. I got ousted because I wanted to have practice, so like we weren't completely failing. Oh, how dare I want to have practice and represent excellence as I worship my Yeshua. Whatever. I did like yesterday when like it seemed sunny and like something got broken down and I got released from something. I heard church bells, and even though they were from the Catholic Church, I still want to believe that like the body of Christ can be cleansed and renewed, and the church as well. 99% of it is what they would say that people use the F-bomb and smoke cigarettes and drink, or are like backslidden. Well, they're backslidden and they're on their way to judgment, according to the words of Christ that they seem to or want to try to pretend to represent. but like, I really feel like the innocent people within those organizations, like I really want to believe that it's true, that it's going to be cleansed and become pure again, all of it, you know, and that people will be given a chance whether to worship in spirit or truth, or to continue to play games and pretend and be wolves in sheep's clothing. And also, I just got to mention that I've had massive amounts of all suddenly numb fingers when he was sleeping. And the last time that happened was when that weird investor and his weird doctor girlfriend got back from Florida. When they were in Florida, I didn't have him for a whole month. So I know that this is due to electronic harassment. And I know it's why I'm getting sicker in this town, why I get sick in this town, because, you know, if the opportunity's there, and the Satanists are certainly here, and the gang stalkers are certainly here in masses, and I do a lot better, like off the grid, away from towers, and, you know, not on a like main street where I can be gang stalked constantly. But yeah, just to mention, I get really, really numb fingers when I'm being electronically harassed and assaulted, and it's happening. So anyways, better stop this.